Organic flour milling, grinding organic grains into flour with minimal heat exposure. That's right. Cold milling is an art, not just a process. The art of cold milling, making flavorful organic flour, is taking the right step. Milling your own organic flour, especially the cold way, is one of the best things you can do for your baking. By keeping the temperature down, you lock in all those wonderful nutrients, delicate natural oils, and the true flavor of the whole grain. Let's walk through this process together, step by step. Phase 1, getting started, the prep work. Every great flour starts with great preparation. Think of this phase as laying the perfect foundation. 1, choosing your grains. Go organic always. Since you're going to all this effort, make sure your grain is certified organic. You want pure flavor, not residues. Whether you pick robust wheat, dark rye, ancient spelt, or anything else, make sure it's a whole beautiful kernel. The moisture check. This is crucial. Your grain shouldn't be too wet, which makes a sticky mess, or too dry, which shatters and causes friction heat. Ideally, your kernels should have a moisture content between 12% and 14%. Keep it clean. Before milling, you need to be sure there are no little stones or pieces of straw. Give your grain a good visual check and run it through a sieve or gently fan it, a process called winnowing, to remove any non-grain bits. Resist the urge to wash it. Water will ruin your milling day by increasing the moisture. 2, setting up your mill. The right tool. If you're serious about keeping things cool, you can't beat a stone mill. Stone grinding is naturally slower, and the heavy stones absorb heat well. Forget those high-speed blade mills. They're heat generators. A gentle beginning. Your mill settings determine the friction. A wider gap, coarser grind, equals less friction and lower heat. For your first pass, always set the mill to a coarse or medium texture. Trying to get superfine flour on the first go is the fastest way to burn your grain and your mill. Phase 2. The cold grind, slow and steady. This is where the magic happens, and the secret word is patience. We're managing heat, not racing a clock. 1, the first pass, the break. Feed it slowly. This is the most important step for cold milling. Do not dump the grain in. Control the flow. So it's a slow, steady trickle. The less strain and faster movement you put on the stones, the cooler the flour will be. A slow feed rate allows air to cool everything down. Monitor the temperature. You need to be a temperature detective. Immediately feel the flour as it comes out. It should feel cool or barely warm to the touch, only a little warmer than the air in the room. If it feels distinctly hot, stop immediately. Widen your gap or slow the feed rate even more. The magic number. If you have an infrared thermometer, aim to keep that exiting flour below 43 degrees Celsius. Truly artisanal mills aim for even less, keeping it under 35 degrees Celsius. 2, rest and cool down. Take a break. Even the best mills will build up heat over time. You need to give them a breather. After about 5 to 10 minutes of grinding, stop the feed and let the mill run empty, then switch it off for 2 or 3 minutes to allow the heat to dissipate. Bring in the fan. If your milling room is warm, set up a fan to blow air across the body of your mill. It's a simple, effective trick for convection cooling. 3, intermediate sieve. Optional step. Why sieve? Now. If you are aiming for a finer flour later, a mid-process sieve helps. Run your coarse ground flour through a coarse screen, around 30-40 mesh. This pulls out the biggest, hardest pieces of bran. The benefit: by separating the largest particles now, the second grinding pass will be much easier, requiring less friction and, critically, generating less heat. Phase 3, finishing up, refine and store. You're almost done. Now we get the flour to its final texture and prepare it for the pantry. 1, the second pass, the refine. Sorry, tighten just a bit. If you want a finer flour, now is the time to slightly tighten the gap between your stones or burrs. Remember your mantra, tighten just enough and no more. Mill slowly again. Take the coarse flour or the bran endosperm mixture from your sieve and feed it back through the mill. Since these particles are smaller, the risk of friction heat is higher, So maintain that slow, controlled feed. Be patient. If you are chasing a very fine texture, it is always better to run it through 3 cool, quick passes than 1 fast, hot pass. Keep that thermometer handy. 2. Final classification, sieving. Keep it whole. If you want 100% whole grain flour, you are finished. Flour kits chur kinenda potains on shipibi thing bran, germ, and endosperm. Go lighter. If you prefer a lighter bread flour, where most of the scratchy bran is removed, a high extraction flour, pass the final product through a finer sieve, 50-80 mesh. What passes through is your lighter flour. What remains is your bran, which you can save for muffins or porridge. 3. Cool down before storage. Don't seal it yet. Even though you milled cold, the flour still holds a tiny bit of residual heat and volatile gases. Do not put it straight into a sealed container. Let it breathe. Spread your beautiful freshly milled flour in a thin layer on a clean counter or baking tray. Let it air dry and cool for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Storage is key. Once it is totally cool, transfer it to an airtight container, because the fragile, nutrient-rich oils in whole grain flour can go rancid quickly at room temperature. It's best to store your fresh, cold milled flour in the refrigerator, or even better, the freezer. This massively extends its freshness and flavor. By sticking to these steps, especially keeping that feed rate slow and monitoring the temperature, you'll be rewarded with the most flavorful, nutritious organic flour possible.